Well, the NHL trade deadline has come and passed, and it was quiet for most of the day until we saw a flurry leading right up to that 1 p.m. Mountain Time deadline. And in that was a trade by the Calgary Flames, in which a substantial one when you look at the player who now exits the organization. Sam Bennett traded to the Florida Panthers in exchange for a second-round pick in 2022 and a prospect, 19-year-old forward Emil Heineman, who was the second-round pick, 43rd overall by the Panthers in this most recent 2020 draft. So two draft picks in the second round when you take a look at the return for Sam Bennett. And let's look at Sam Bennett more closely because, of course, he was the highest pick in Calgary Flames franchise history, 4th overall in the 2014 draft. It was also the first pick that Brad Treliving ever made as general manager when he entered this organization. So some ties that go back a long ways with him and Bennett. He finishes his career with just over 400 games played as a member of the Calgary Flames and 140 points, but he now gets a fresh start in Florida. And as Brad Treliving put it, a difficult decision to make, but a trade that had to be made from business standpoint.
These are also two young guys that we think a lot of and gave a lot to this organization. So it sucks. It sucks when you move players out. I'd like to be more politically correct with my language, but it sucks. But you have to do what's right for the organization, and in both cases, you hate seeing people leave, but I'm real happy with the return that we received. Sam and I had a good chat up in my office, and we came here at the same time. You know, I got hired, and Sam was, I think the draft was a month later, and Sam was our first pick, and so we go back. Ever since I got here, we arrived at the same time. It hasn't gone, you know, there's been lots of ups, lots of downs. It hasn't gone, you know, perfect, but at the end of the day, you know, I try to separate that. He's a good kid. He's a real good kid, and but you also have to make business decisions. We made one here, and we had a good chat, and always told him if there's ever anything I can do for him moving forward. But you know, you like to have that relationship with your players, but at the end of the day, you also, you know, you have to make business calls. That's the job when you're sitting in the seat, and that's what we did today.
The Bennett trade, of course, was one of two made by general manager Brad Treliving in the last 24 hours. David Rittich was traded to the Toronto Maple Leafs last night in exchange for a third-round draft pick. That one also in 2022. So David Rittich now gets a fresh start in Toronto as well. Treliving spoke just after the deadline and said in conversations with him and his agent got the sense that they were going to look for a fresh start in the offseason, so an opportunity to gain another asset for a player who may be departing in the summertime. Of course, Rittich was a pending unrestricted free agent. It also happens to be the next opponent for the Calgary Flames as they now head to Toronto, where they'll play the Maple Leafs for the final time this season tomorrow night in Toronto.